Buongiorno. Today, I want to give you some safety tips as you travel throughout Italy. First thing you should know, though, is that Italy is a very safe country. There's a very low rate of violent crime, but petty crime can be a problem, particularly in tourist areas. So, there's a couple situations I want to make you aware of because I just would hate to see something happen that makes your trip unpleasant or inconvenient. And the first thing that's quite important to know is that you want to know the area. Google Maps is actually really great for this. So I'll show you a couple images from Google Maps. But when you know where you're going in terms of how to get from the metro to the train station, and you're not checking your map, and you feel much more confident doing it, you make yourself less of a potential victim to someone who wants to pickpocket you or sees you as an outsider. The thing that's really great about Google Map, though, is that on this right hand corner here, you can see this little guy. And you can pull this little guy right into the map. And as you do it, you'll see this. You'll see an image of exactly where you're going in many cities. And so as you walk from one place to the next, you've already been there, at least virtually. So you know what to expect, what to see, and you know whether or not you're on the right track. And so you have some familiarity with it, which is great. And you see if you keep going, you can actually go down the street and again, feel quite more confident that you're going the right way. A bit more nuance here, you can see how people are dressed. You can see what people look like. So you know the kind of people that you might expect to encounter in the area, and you know how they might be dressed. So that's something you could consider adopting as well if you're concerned about standing out. Tourist spots are an area you need to be aware of because a lot of tourists do, go to these areas. Pickpockets and thieves know that they're great areas to find people who might not exactly be aware of what's going on around them. They're in an unfamiliar environment and have stuff that's good to get. So just be aware of that when you're in a tourist area. When you want to be hyper vigilant and just be careful. Now, there are other areas in Italy where you don't have to worry as much if you're in a small village or a small town. I don't think it's quite as important to be concerned about that. We're really looking at the large cities, the major attractions, and of course, transportation. When we're on transportation, particularly in the larger cities, there are in the main stations, you could find vagrants, you can find individuals who have problems with drugs or with alcohol, unfortunately. So the first thing is that at night, you want to try to avoid these stations if you can. You want to avoid being isolated in them if you do go to them, and if possible, be with someone else while you're going to a transportation station, a big city at night, just because you never know. Now, if it's crowded like this, you want to make sure you're very careful about where you keep your stuff. So if you have a credit card, if you have some money, if you have some cash, really anything you don't want to lose, I try to put it into some sort of internal pocket, like if you have an internal zipper on a coat or a vest or something, that's great. If you have a money belt, terrific. But I would wear that money pouch inside of your clothes. Sometimes I see people on the outside. It doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. So make sure you have your stuff secure when you're going through these places. Anything in your backpack, even if you have a little lock on it or something, you want to make sure that anything in your backpack that's of value that you're not that you don't keep it in a place that's accessible. And even those little locks, thieves have been known to use razor blades, right, to cut in. You don't even know they took it. So just be careful of that and keep your hands on your bags. So if you have a bag at your side and you're distracted or someone distracts you, you have your hand on it, you know that it's not going to disappear. Um, Sometimes when I'm waiting in a metro station or a bus station, it's busy like this, I'll actually back into where two walls to come together in a corner or in an area where no one can get behind me. I like that because I can kind of keep an eye on what's around me, and I know no one's getting behind me or sneaking up on me, trying to potentially steal something. Being aware is really important, particularly when you're in a larger town, you're in a larger city. You want to make sure that you're not, have these headphones on like this girl is doing here, and you're looking at your phone because you have no idea what's going on around you. Thieves and individuals who want to take things, they key in on this and they look for people like this. So just for your own safety, keep the headphones off, keep the music off, and put the phone away until you're in a place where you feel comfortable you can use it and you're not in the crowded area where you might be watched. Don't stand out. You don't need to, dress like you think an Italian dresses or try to embody an Italian, but you don't want to necessarily wear typical tourist gear, right? So walking around in flip flops and sandals and shorts, right? Those are or wearing a clothing that has sports teams or something like that, or baseball caps, right, that have logos from where you're from, you're much better off, I think, in terms of not standing out if you wear colors that are earth tones or muted colors, long pants, and you don't wear the sports teams or anything that really identifies where you're from. Again, it's fine to be proud of your team or where you're from. And if you want to do it, that's perfectly fine. But there are some advantages just to not standing out, because when you stand out, that's when you might attract attention, and someone might think this could be a good person to pickpocket because they're not from here. Locks. So you'll notice that locks are serious in Italy. This isn't because it's just such a dangerous place, but it's because, again, there is some petty crime. There's these big old doors you'll see, like this one here, that originally were for like a horse and carriage to get into a building, and now they've cut them like this open, and they lock. So when you leave your apartment or you leave a building where you're staying, you want to pull it shut and make sure the door is locked. On the right hand side, you see what's called a citofono, an intercom. And if you're staying somewhere, people can be buzzed in, or you can buzz in if you're visiting someone. So you'll use those, and that's great. They have an added security measure. And then once you get inside, you might notice, and this was from an apartment I stayed at, that your lock looks something like this. It's a serious lock. There may be 2 or 3 locks. I use them all. I think it just makes you feel safer and more comfortable. And they're there for a reason. It's because petty crime, someone coming in and just grabbing a couple of things might be possible. You want to make sure your windows are closed, your windows are locked, and your door is locked and closed. And I would use all those locks when you're going out, just to be on the safe side. And I think it will make you feel more comfortable too. But nothing to be scared of here. But I think it's actually a bonus that they have a good secure system for doors and windows. Nightlife can be a concern, particularly for people who are younger. So I'll cover this one in terms of going out, right? So if you're going out, there have been instances in large cities at kind of the discotheque, at the disco, the large clubs and things, where someone might perhaps put something in a drink. So you want to make sure if you're getting an alcoholic drink, that you're getting it directly from the barman. You're not taking a drink from anyone, and you're keeping an eye on your drink at all times, just to be on the safe side. Also, consuming too much alcohol. And you could end up in a situation where you're not making good decisions, or someone may see you and see that you've consumed too much alcohol, and they may try to take advantage of you. So be mindful of that. And if you are going out, stay in a group of several individuals and make sure that at least one of you has a sense of what's going on. And you want to have a plan to get back. So having a plan to get back is really important. Right. Some places, particularly on the outskirts of town, you're not going to find public transportation. It will shut down. You can't just hail a taxi in Italy. So you need to have a really good plan about how you're getting back if it's late at night or you're far away. And this goes for whether or not you're going out for some sort of nightlife or to a restaurant or somewhere else, but good to organize in advance. Staying in groups is important at night, and it's important in the transportation station. So you certainly can explore Italy by yourself, small towns, villages, city centers. That's perfectly fine, and it's generally very safe. But at night, particularly in larger cities, areas where you might find nightlife, in areas where there are transportation stations, you want to be in a group for sure, just to be on the safe side. So make sure you stay in a group while you are traveling in Italy and going out. Backing it up, it is possible your phone could break, you could lose it, it could get stolen, right? A lot of things could happen. So you want to make sure you have all your information on the cloud somewhere that you can access. And if you have to get another phone, you have a place to put it. At the same token, you want to make sure that you have passwords in place, so that if your phone does get lost or stolen, that no one can access your information, and that your information is secure, essentially. Having different payment options is important. So you want to bring several credit cards if possible. I like to leave one hidden in the room somewhere, maybe keep one on me in a location that's secure while I go out and around. I also like to use Apple Pay. So Apple Pay is accepted particularly in large cities, and I pay a lot with that. That way I'm not pulling out a credit card or my wallet or some large amounts of cash. So that's good to know. And having one or two debit cards you can withdraw cash is good too, in case one happens to get lost or get stolen. And again, keeping one in your room if you can while you're traveling. Now that's not always possible if you're traveling from one large city to another. If you're moving locations, then perhaps keep one in a designated money pouch and one in another kind of secure pocket, just to make sure you're kind of putting your eggs in different baskets, as they say. But that's really it for the tips I have. I know they're fairly basic and broad. If you want some more detail, you can check out a guide to Italy. I have lots more detail in there, but I hope you stay safe. Hope you have a wonderful trip and I wish you a buon viaggio.